What's up, friends? My name is Mike Nicastro. Find me on Twitter, or X, as they say, at Mic'd Up Sports One. Welcome into our Steelers Draft Profile series. Yeah, we got the itch right now. We're counting down to the NFL Draft. I'm angry that it's not here yet. Got my Angry Run shirt on. Steelers signed another angry runner, if you missed it, Cordell Patterson, to fill out their backfield. But they're going to need some guys to block for these running backs and, of course, two quarterbacks that like to hang back in the pocket and try and make plays off script. So if you've watched this series, you're going to see a lot of offensive linemen being talked about. And today we are going to do another one. We're excited to do that, of course, with our resident draft expert. We'll bring him in a second. Sammy, roll it, man.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
None other than John Vogel is jumping on with me today. Of course, find him on X at Draft Vogel. John, what is going on? I got to ask, do you ever get sick of watching these guys? You feel like your eyes are bleeding towards the end of this process a little bit? Or is it you're just like, man, I get to work in this business. It's the coolest damn thing ever.
That doesn't necessarily hit. It's more so, oh, shoot, it's already time to get started on next year.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Spoken like a true draftnik, that's for sure. So obviously, as I mentioned in the lead up, we're focusing on the trenches today. Amarius Mims thrown around a lot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tyler Guyton as well, a guy who could potentially be drafted in that 20 range. Both of these guys, athletic freaks, who have, of course, a little bit of inexperience. Right, John? Tell us a little bit about Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, Tyler's an interesting prospect, and got the opportunity to go down to the Senior Bowl, got a chance to see him in person, and he's a mammoth. He's 6'7", he's 322, and we got a lot of these guys that just have this abnormal size, even for offensive tackles in this class this year. So it is a good point that you bring up lack of experience. There is a little bit here. He's played 1,095 career snaps and started 15 games over his career. Which he did over 3 years, 1 year at TCU, the last 2 at Oklahoma. So there is a little bit of concern, I think, because when we talk about guys that aren't as experienced, they haven't seen as much football, so they're not going to be, recognizing some things that veteran guys are. They're not going to see things on the field the way that they do. He really combined only has a season of starting experience. Now, he played right tackle at Oklahoma. So we're talking about a right tackle guy here. They tried to move him over to the left of the Senior Bowl. Didn't look as good. Would need some time to make that adjustment if he's going to switch. But we're basically talking about a pass protector playing on the right side. This guy's a real good pass protector. He's got a really great pass set. Gets back there. Really great hand placement. Good anchor. Struggles a little bit more as a run blocker, in my opinion. I didn't like him going downhill as much. So that's why, the skill set typically screams at you and says left tackle, blindside protector. And I think I said it last week. I said this could be a perfect prospect for the Miami Dolphins because you got a left-handed quarterback and your left tackle becomes your right tackle. But Guyton's probably going to have to look at making that move, from right to left. And that might take some time for him to make that adjustment. The good thing is he hasn't played a whole lot of football yet. So you're not asking him to, necessarily break years and years and years and years worth of muscle memory.
John, a lot of people like myself and anybody watching this are going to ask themselves why this is a player who only made one start at TCU, right? Was he injured, or was it just a lack of playing time due to them not obviously thinking that he was the best option on the team?
No, they didn't, At TCU, it's a Christian school, obviously Texas Christian. So, I've heard stories of guys, I couldn't speak directly to Guyton, but, stories of guys saying, hey, I left there because they didn't like my personality, or they didn't like the way that I carried myself, or the things that I said. So sometimes those things do affect. Now, he goes to Oklahoma. There kind of is another concern here too, because we're talking about he started 14 games at the University of Oklahoma. This past year, he actually lost a starting job to Jacob Sexton after he got injured. So, he had the opportunity to come back, and they decided to stick with Sexton because there seemed to be an upgrade that had happened there. He came back and played a few snaps in the Oklahoma State game at the end of the year, but that was it. So that's a little concerning too, where it's like, well, why couldn't he get his starting job back when he came back? So I think those are the questions that teams are going to be digging into and trying to figure out, hey, was there something going on behind the scenes? Was there something that we need to know about? Me personally, I don't know what that would be. And the only thing that I can look at is what I've seen on the field. And, what I've seen is we got a guy that's a little bit of a project, can get better as a run blocker, but really has a good pass set and might just have to make that switch over.
Yeah. Last question for you. Where is he kind of in your pecking order? I know obviously we're not throwing his name in with the Alts, the Thuagas, probably even the Lathams, but around that second tier of guys, the Mims of the world, where does he slot in?
I think because he has, most likely he'll have to make a move from right to left just because of his skill set. His skill set would translate better if he was playing on the left side as opposed to the right. That will take some time to make. Also, because he's not as great of a run blocker, and because he still is a little bit of a project, I actually have him. If it was me, right, I wouldn't take him until probably day 3.
Day 3?
Well, that's me personally.
I didn't see that coming.
Well, that's me personally. And it's because I'm looking at a guy having to make an adjustment all the way over. Now, we talk about potential. We talked about this when we talked about Marius Mims, right? He's got potential. The ceiling is very high here. And the way that I grade players, the way that I kind of assess them, I don't put a lot into potential and upside. And the reason for that is because it can burn you, and you can get caught up in, hey, this guy's got all the tools and all the traits and this and that. Now, I would project and understand he's going to go day 1 most likely because of that upside that he presents. But me personally, I'd be more hesitant unless I had a left-handed quarterback that was coming in and I could say, okay, now this is a guy that I could really, protect my quarterback's blind side with. You don't have to make a move. Don't have to teach a left tackle how to play right, and all those things would accumulate. So if I had a left-handed quarterback like Miami does, I'd be looking at him definitely as a first-round guy for sure.
Interesting. Always good to talk to somebody, of course, who doesn't just follow the status quo. I have not watched much of Guyton, so my reaction was not based on where I think he is, but of course it's based on where I've seen him go most frequently in mocks. So great stuff for sure, as always, from John Vogel at Draft Vogel. Steelers draft profiles. Check them all out at SickPod Steelers. I'm sure you can find them at SickPod NFL Draft as well. Subscribe, like, tell a friend to tell a friend. All right, John, thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.